Hello WordPress people, welcome back to another video of our playlist building headless WordPress web app using Next.js. So in the previous video I showed you how to prevent user for accessing site without login. And now in this video I'm gonna show you how we will create user dropdown. So let me show you by logging into our site. So once user is logged in, we will see this user with image and name, and in the drop down we will display a couple of links. So by the end of this video you will be able to add this username and a couple of links in the drop down. So let's jump into the code. Before jumping into the code, if you are into WordPress Gutenberg development, I would suggest to check out this site, the WP Voyage. So this guy has amazing tutorial and tips and tricks about Gutenberg editor. So yeah, please go and check out this site. Link is into the description section. Now let's jump into the code. So I'm gonna open my headless web app in the terminal, and we will start the server npm run dev. The server has been started, and if I refresh the page, let's log out. Okay. Now let's log in. So currently there is no user dropdown, so let's add a dropdown. So for that I have couple of so let me bring those snippets. So I'm gonna use those snippet. So first we will add a drop down from this simple hover drop down. So I'm gonna copy this. No, first let's go to header.php. I'm sorry, header.js. So let's close this and header.js. Here I will add a drop down if user is logged in. So here we will add a drop down. So I will copy this HTML and convert into JSX. Well, let's not add the whole HTML here. Instead, I will create one more component called user dropdown.js. Okay, and I will export default function. I will call it user dropdown and return return this JSX. So I will copy this and now I will use that user drop down here and it automatically imported. And yeah, as we have now couple of divisions, so we have to wrap inside a wrapper. And now let's see what happens. So we have drop down, but on hover it is not displaying anything. So for that we have to add this minor CSS. So I will go ahead and open my global CSS, and in that global CSS I will add this. And now let's see what happens. So our drop down is ready. Now in this drop down we will put logout link inside this drop down, and here we will display the username and image. So now I will go ahead in this site and I will first go to navbars. Well, let's go to components and yeah, avatars. So in the avatar section I will select this avatar. I will first make it dark mode. This is the code, and we need this small image, so I will choose this small one, and I will put in the user drop down. So here we have this drop down written. It is coming from here. We don't need this SVG, so we will get rid of this, and I will add this structure for displaying this user image, name and email. So we will not display email. So we took that structure and put it inside our user dropdown.js, and now let's see how it looks. Then we will make it dynamic. So it is looking like this. So it's looking good now. Let's get rid of this background. So that background is because of this. So let's remove this unnecessary class. Okay, so that background is removed. Let's get rid of the email and keep minimal thing. Keep things what you need, otherwise remove. Now we will put the logout link inside this drop down. So for that, again I will go over here. I will click on components and we will look for drop downs here. So I will go inside this drop downs. And I will simply use this view profile and then sign out. So dark mode, then where is the view profile? As of now we are not going to make view profile, that we will make in another video. So here a tag. So this is view profile. Okay, and then we will make sign out. So let's copy the sign out section. We'll get rid of other allies. Okay, now let's see. So our user dropdown is ready. Now let's make it dynamic. So first we will put this logout link over here on the sign out button. So before that, we don't use anchor tag for the Next.js. Instead we use link component. So I will use and replace this with link. For all the anchor tags we added. So now that's great. Now logout. So let's get rid of logout from header.js. So here I will copy this on click sign out and paste it on this sign out link. And now we will import sign out in this page because we will have an error of not component not found. Let's click and yeah, sign out is not defined. So for that we will copy this line for sign out and we will need the use session as well in this page. So now sign out is ready. Let's try to click. We are sign out. So let's log in again. So as the sign out is here, let's remove it from here. So it is coming from header. So let's remove the sign out link. And now there is only one tag, so we don't need a wrapper. So now sign out is gone. Now we have home, blogs, and user sign out. So view profile we will create in the next video. Now let's make this name and image dynamic. So how to get current user info using API. So WordPress has the API which is WP-v2 user me. For this API we have to pass the authorization token, and this token we get through the JWT token when we log in. So let's use this API and we need this inside user dropdown. So for that we will use, just a minute, we will use effect. So we have to use effect. So I'm gonna copy this whole section. So if you don't know what is use effect, so it runs when the component is ready. So whenever our component is ready, we will make request to this API and we will get the data of current user. And this is the state we will be using. So if you don't know what is use effect, I have already created that video in this playlist, so you can watch that video. But yeah, as of now I'm gonna copy this section, so where we have our state, and here we will make the request. So I will go inside this this function, and I will call it user info, and this is the callback function. So which callback function will set data inside this variable. Now here we have this root URL till here, WP v2, and now we have to use this like this, and we are using XUS to make request, so we have to import XUS as well. So I'm gonna copy this and put it over here. So what is XUS? This is also came in the previous one of the previous videos. So now if so now let's check what we get inside the site info. So let's console.log, but before that we have to pass header as well, because in the header, if we don't pass this and make request, the API is going to fail. See, now the API is failed. So for that, let me first check pass header in XUS. And this will be the get request. URL data and then config. So we have this URL, there is no data, so we will pass empty, and then we will pass config, and config, let config and header will be authorization and value will be bearer space our token, bearer space auth token. Now how will we get this auth token? So first let's comment this section so that we don't get error, and then now we will use this session. So we are getting token in the use session, so that is also I showed you in one of my previous video. So if I console.log this, and if I go to this page, okay, in order to use state we have to import it from the React. Okay, so error is gone. Now let's inspect and go to console. If we go and check the drop, I mean this session variable, we print over here using drop identifier. So if we go inside this drop data user and then access token, so we are going to use this access token. So when we get this access token, so let's say if we have session and data then user and access token, then make this request. Okay, I made this mistake. It should be like this. Okay, so this is ternary operation. It will check if this is set, then this is set, then this, and so on. So let's try to console.log this. So let's confirm if we get, let's comment this out, and let's confirm if we get access token correctly. So auth token is not defined, so I'm gonna define this as well. and we are getting access token correctly over here. So now we can pass this auth token here in the config, and then now let's console.log this user info. So in the user info, first name will be loading. So this is the initial value. Instead, what we will give dot name. Okay, let's keep this as it is. And now this, what is this printing? Let's add identifier. Okay, we need slash over here, so let's add slash. URL is not correct, so we need this WPV to users me. First I will go and open my env. So we need WP JSON v2, so we need to use WP base URL instead of this. So I will use this. Now let's see what happens. Let's refresh the page. So now something is wrong. Let me use this. We have to use the next public prefix. So next public base URL, and I will copy that over here. Sorry. And now let's see what happens. Okay, now we are getting our page, but something is not right. So it says we are using somewhere class instead of class name. So where it is, okay, we have some class here, so I will copy and replace it with class name. Now the error should be gone. Okay, now we don't need two slashes, so sorry about this, guys. So I made this next public constant because if we want to use this constant, we have to use the prefix called next public, and then I made this API request. So now let's see what we are getting. So we still get loading and not the so something is not right. Okay, so our request is, let's see what we get in the response. Okay, request fail with status code. So why request fail? Let's see. Rest not logged in.
A few moments later.
So after digging into this, I found that the config part will be the second argument. So I do this. Now we have something in the user info, user info data, and yes, we have all the user related stuff over here. So data of data. So now we can use this user info over here. User info dot data dot name. Let's see what happens. So our name started displaying over here, and then we will display the image. So we have avatar URLs over here. So I will use this avatar URLs. So in here we will use user info dot data dot avatar URLs dot, let's keep 24.
A few moments later.
So as this is JavaScript, and in JavaScript numeric identifier is not allowed. So when it comes to read numeric identifier, we have to use something like this. And now if I go here, now my avatar started displaying over here. So avatar is set, name is set, sign out link is set, and view profile we will see in the next video. So for now we are done. So let's revise this. So first we added component user dropdown, and then we added a structure of dropdown. Then we make request over here using use effect, and we are using WordPress user/me API so that we get current logged in users API. And then we made a request and response, set response to set user info function. And that's it. Let's try to sign out. Okay, it's gone. Now let's try to log in. Okay, something is wrong again. Let's check what is. Okay, we have to check whether it is defined or not. So yeah, let's make this something like this. So let's display image only when it is available. So if we have this, then only display this. Let's log out again and let's try to log in. So now it is displaying correct. So once it's loaded, it will display the name. So this is how we can create a user dropdown. So if you have any doubt or question, please write down below in the comment section. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I will provide all these related links into the description section.